7-6, Titans fans. Music to my ears. Welcome to the Two-Tone Crew. I'm John Boy, and we are the official podcast of TitansReport.com. No, I wasn't joking. 7-6, guys. Can you believe it? That is the record of our Tennessee Titans. Jamal, welcome back.
John, thanks for getting me out of bed and actually recording. Apologies to everyone who is listening live.
I could just tell in the thread over on Titans Report, they're just on the edge of their seats right now, ready for this episode. Scotty's back with us once again as well. Welcome, Scotty.
What's up, guys? 7 wins, 3 more to go.
Indeed. Only 3 away from the 10-win prediction. And more importantly, 3 win away from a playoff berth, which I think a couple weeks ago, no one would have really believed that the Titans would be in that position. But because the way everything else has kind of fell out here, Titans are in control of their own destiny now, both they and the Texans, with 3 games to play. If both teams win out, well, both teams can't win out, but if both teams win out until that final Week 17 matchup, that game will be for the division. And as we've ran all these little playoff simulators and calculations and talked about wins and losses, a lot of times we've circled that game as a potential game where it could be decided. And obviously there's still a lot to happen between now and then. We'll talk about the team we have coming up here in a little bit. But this win today, guys, 13-10 over the Denver Broncos, defending Super Bowl champs, known for their defense. Trevor Siemian, the quarterback, did come back and play in this game today and played well. But overall, this was just one of those grinded out type of wins. It certainly was not pretty, at least offensively in the second half was not pretty at all. But I got to give credit, guys. I mean, Dick LeBeau and the defense, that was a phenomenal effort. I mean, early in the year, I mean, those first couple games, we talked about how the defense was kind of carrying the offense. And then there was that point where that Week 5 mark, when Mariota and the offense really exploded, that all changed drastically. And it hasn't been, the offense has carried this team up until this game, and they flipped the script. And it was obviously conservative game plan going in. Titans, we knew they would want to run the ball, and they did that. DeMarco Murray, 21 carries. Derrick Henry had 12 carries. Mariota had 8 himself. And together, I think it was something like 180 yards with all of them added up. DeMarco averaged 4.4 per carry, Henry 3.5, and Mariota 4.8 on his carries. And they actually did count that play to Walker was considered a lateral. So that was counted in the rushing numbers as well. But it was a game that the Titans started out really hot. I mean, the offense drove right down the field. Mariota made a great pass on that drive to Delaney. The first pass, Delaney just dropped, went right through his hands. It was a short pass, but he dropped that one, drove down the field. And there was that weird play where they didn't review it. And I have yet to hear why exactly that wasn't reviewable. Have you guys read or learned anything more about that? I'm talking about the play where they said Delaney was out of bounds, so they just blew it dead.
I saw Mike Pereira tweeted that they should have reviewed it, in his opinion.
Yeah, I was watching that video actually just a little bit before we came on, so I didn't have time to really decipher it just yet. But it was a little bit confusing. Something about if on the goal line it's a step, and so like they think he stepped out of bounds here, and then a step, and he's in the end zone, that should be reviewed. And the way that he talked it was almost like it should be automatically reviewed, which I don't know. It was kind of confusing, but regardless, it sounds like he definitely thought that play should have been reviewed. I thought it should have been reviewed. It was really close, but I'm surprised that they said Mularkey can't challenge it. So I guess as soon as they say you step out of bounds, the play is done. There's no challenging. But if it was the other way around, if they had said, okay, it's a touchdown, then Kubiak would be free to call for a challenge and review it. Anyway, it ended up not mattering. Titans scored anyway. The officiating, though, however, was a kind of a theme throughout this game of just some very strange calls. And Titans went up early, and really the defense after that just started playing incredible. They got their first fumble of the year, first forced fumble of the year, and that led to 3 points for the Titans, which put them up 10-0. And in the second half, I mean, what can you say? They gave up the touchdown, but yet they also held the Broncos on a 4th and goal. Actually, they were down near the goal line, and Titans offense was backed up a lot in the second half. They got no help whatsoever from special teams until the very, very end. But I mean, overall, I mean, just what are you guys thinking right now? I can't imagine a bigger win that we've had since we've been doing this podcast. I don't know, Jamal, maybe you can. I was trying to think back. Have we had a bigger win since we've been doing this show? A more meaningful win this late in the season? I really don't think we have.
You can count on one hand the other wins, probably. So, no, I'm pretty sure this is easily, I mean, the defending Super Bowl champs as well, and a team that has played well this year. Denver, they're a good team. I don't think we've had a win like this in years.
Yeah. I mean, the Green Bay one was fun because of the way the offense just dominated, but that one, you could just kind of feel the Packers were down. And as if you've been paying attention to them lately, they seem to be back on the upswing. But yeah, I mean, the Packers were down. That was a good win. But this game was kind of, I think this was more of that kind of statement win than Malarkey talked about the Packers game being that statement win. Because like you said, it's the defending Super Bowl champs. We all know how great of a defense they have. And while we're talking about our defense being so great, I think we also have to talk about this offensive line, because that gave up 2 sacks and just especially run blocking. I mean, they were fantastic all day. Jack Conklin, Taylor Lewan, great overall effort. What do you think, Scotty, about Lewan going to sit away from the brawl?
Yeah, that was pretty hilarious. I'm sure he wanted in there so bad, too.
He tweeted that after the game. He said, I wanted to play with my friends, but the coaches wouldn't let me.
That was a great tweet. I saw that.
I guess he's actually learning then, because I wasn't sure if it was possible there for a while.
And all this defensive effort, I don't think I heard many people, at least in the national media after the game, talk about. You could argue that the Titans did this without their best defensive player. In fact, I think everyone would say pretty strongly Jarrell Casey's our best defensive player. He did not play this game, didn't practice all week, so we didn't feel like he was going to suit up. But to go out there and do what they did, they got pressure. I thought that first sack by Morgan, man, just set the tone, because he just came in and leveled Simeon. It was on a 3rd down. I think it was even a 3rd and short. And he just came and drilled him. That set the tone for the rest of the game.
Yeah, even on the touchdown drive, isn't that the drive where the Broncos ran a fake punt, which was probably one of their biggest plays too, by the way?
Yeah, for sure.
So, was the fake punt on the touchdown drive, or was that on the drive where we held them on 4th down, I think? Which turned into the touchdown drive, actually, because the field position they got after that led them to a quick touchdown.
Right.
I think it was technically the drive before the touchdown.
It could have been, yeah. But, I mean, I'm just saying, though, that play right there wasn't even on the defense. So even the Broncos possibly – I mean, that's probably – you think that was maybe their biggest play of the game?
The fake punt?
Yardage-wise?
Yeah, I think it definitely flipped the momentum for sure.
They had I think a 34-yard pass like right after that, I think, on the right side. Yeah,
Demaryius had one 34-yard reception. Yeah. And that play went for what? Let's see. It was Latimer, so it was like a 16-yard play.
Yeah, 16 yards. Yeah, so they had at least 3 other plays longer than that. But, I mean, it was huge momentum shift, if nothing else. I mean, their offense came alive after that. It was like they realized, we can do something. It was kind of weird, actually.
I got the sense that they were desperate and tried the fake punt and going for it on 4th down. They had to have 2 touchdowns, and I felt like they thought, we can't kick a field goal because we can't get down here a couple more times. We've got to try to score 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think the call with Tony Dungy. he was talking about that on before the Sunday night game, And he said the exact same thing, that basically he didn't think Kubiak thought they would be able to get down there again because of how the offense is struggling.
Yeah, it's the only explanation for why they'd go for it there.
Yeah, I hated the call at the time. Well, I loved the call because of the result, but I was watching. I was like, they're really going to go for it on fourth down? Like, it just felt like even though they were down there, it felt like they had no momentum at that moment. Just because of the couple of plays right before it, it felt like there was no momentum. You could tell the defense was getting to the quarterback there. They had more momentum after that when they were moving the ball almost at will. It was an interesting game because I think they like outscored us or outgained us on everything. I mean, their second half compared to our first half, such a tale of two halves, but then like almost no scores.
It was a lot like the Chicago game in that we got up big, started trying to run out the clock and end the game. I mean, early in the second half, and the defense dominated the first three quarters. But the Broncos, the defense stopped the Broncos a lot better than they stopped the Bears. The Bears were actually scoring.
No, we were up a lot more on the Bears too.
The Bears stopped the Bears. Yeah,
it made me think back to. I even mentioned it. Well, not last week, but because we were on the bye. But on the last podcast, I said this feels like it's going to be similar to that Vikings game, the first game of the year, and in a lot of ways, it was. It was the fact that we won this game because we didn't turn the ball over and they did. I mean, that's really what it comes down to at the end. They had two fumbles. That one fumble led directly to 3 points for us, and then the other fumble is the one that sealed the game. So,
and they were moving at that point. Like, I mean, end, I was nervous as heck. Yeah, you can guarantee if we didn't get a turnover there, they were going down the field to score a field goal, if not a touchdown. I mean, they were just walking through us. Well timed. If you're gonna save them up, thank you for using them now.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we probably needed both.
Yeah, definitely. Both of them. One of them led to points, and the other one's the one that basically kept them from being able to tie it up. So, 100% agree. But how about the day? Or were you about to say something?
I was just looking at you had mentioned field position earlier. Our field position in the first half was amazing, and in the second half was legitimately terrible.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest reasons for the flip in the second half, the field position.
We started on the 25 for our first drive in the second half, and then after that it was our own 14, the 4, the 18, and the 20. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
best field position. That best field position we had was the 25-yard line. And in the first half, we started on our own 30, and then after the fumble on their 40, our own 44, our own 37, and then our 3-yard line for our 19-play drive that ended in a field goal.
I was gonna say, how about the play from Blake and Sims? Man, I mean, these are two top-tier receivers when you talk about Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders. I thought they looked better than McCourty. I mean, the Broncos were picking on McCourty all day, and
McCourty looks terrible.
Blake both had a couple breakups.
Hey, in the Bears game, Cox got cut. McCourty was every bit as bad as Cox in the Bears game, and he was terrible in this game too.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. We're going to have more on him later when we get to the fan discussion. We're doing a new thing now where we post if you're listening to this and you don't visit titansreport.com, we post a thread before we go live and just basically ask for questions there. So we've got a couple questions about McCourty before we end. But yeah, so this game, I mean, I thought the cornerbacks, those two, made some big plays. Arakpo got a lot of pressure. He got the 1 sack. And then Aaron Wallace got his first sack. I believe that was the first sack of his career, right? In the NFL?
Yeah. Yes.
Came at a good time. And then the other one I mentioned, Morgan. That was Morgan's only tackle of the day. I was just looking at the stat sheet here. Kind of crazy. But that sack was his only tackle.
They only ran the ball 9 times, though. So if you don't get a sack, there's not very many chances to get a tackle.
Yeah, geez, you weren't kidding. They ran the ball 9 times. Oh, my gosh.
52 passes, I think, or 51. Ooh.
51. Well, 52 if you count the punt, the fake punt.
It's a lot like the Green. I mean, they put up yards passing, but if you throw the ball 52 times and run it 9, you're probably losing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Simeon didn't have a bad day statistically. I mean, 334 yards, a touchdown, no interceptions. But not being able to run the ball, man, that's killer.
Good, not being able to pass the ball, we managed to survive that.
Somehow, yeah.
88 yards passing. I think it like nets out to 70 something. I mean, that's
completed one pass the second half.
I bet that is the potentially the lowest yardage total. How early was he injured in his 2 injuries last year? I bet that's first or second fewest passing yards Mariota has in his career.
Yeah.
And with no touchdowns and such a low completion percentage, it might be his worst passer rating as well.
They only tried 4 attempts in the second half. He only completed 1 in the second. A lot of that was by design.
They only passed the ball 4 times in the second half. Oh my gosh!
And a lot of that was by design. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I'll say this: I thought the first 2 quarters he was playing the type of efficient, just very safe football that it takes to beat this type of team. Second half, he was clearly off. In the second half, I mean, he was missing some easy throws in the second half. And we talked about this early in the year, how he's a guy who a lot of times needs to get into a rhythm. And this really just wasn't a game where they could afford to try and get him into a rhythm, because this Broncos team, they make so many big plays. Somebody posted earlier over on Titans Report just about how other quarterbacks have fared this season. I'll see if I can find it here really quick. And it actually didn't even have the strip sacks on there, because, I mean, how many times have you seen Von Miller getting the strip sack this year? But against them, and keep in mind, I mean, these guys threw for way more yards, but Luck threw a pick against them. Breeze threw 2 picks. Rivers threw 3 picks. Dalton threw a pick. Matt Ryan probably had the best game against them.
They also were playing from behind in a lot of those games. The Titans were ahead.
Yeah. Winston threw 2 picks. And then Alex Smith had a really solid game against them as well. So, I mean,
I'd be surprised if any of those quarterbacks, even with the turnovers, had as bad of a passer rating. But that's where I think sometimes, we talk about passer rating as if it's the be-all, end-all stat, but we had turnovers in the passing game with the offense that we wanted to run today. It would have been terrible, like absolutely terrible. Whereas other teams, good or bad, our game today was we're going to run the ball as often as we can, period. And it was smart. I mean, you see how well we passed against them. They're a great passing team, pass defense. It was a good game plan, and we survived it. But nobody else is coming in trying to pass as infrequently as we did.
I actually think they should have ran the ball more.
I was about to say, I think they should have ran it a little more. Yeah.
It's almost impossible to. That's nonsense. It's almost impossible to.
No, I'll tell you when it was 3rd and 13, I believe. I thought
that was
run
one.
The ball.
He took the sack.
And then two of the third, it was either 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 3. I was like, just run the ball.
That's the other one.
All, there's a good chance they convert. I mean, Murray. They had 42 carries for 180 yards. They only had like a long of 11, 13. They had a
Mariota's was 13.
These were legitimately 5 and 6 yards, 4 yards. They weren't. There's no long run skewing these stats. They were hammering them.
Yeah, for a while in the second half, it was run, pass, run, pass, run, pass, and they were going 3 and out. There was at least one. There may have been more, but there was at least one, like you, Scotty, where it was 3rd and 2, and I'm thinking, just run it. You're most likely going to get this if you just run the ball. Murray averaged 4.4, Henry averaged 3.5, and Mariota averaged 4.8. And then the other time I was kind of surprised, but this one's probably a little more debatable, was at the end of the game when we had the ball with about 4 minutes to go. Broncos still had 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning. We hit the big pass to Matthews.
Yes.
And then after that, I'm kind of surprised they just didn't just say, okay, we're running it now. Let them use all their timeouts.
They should have. They should. I believe they should have ran the ball 3 straight times there.
I mean, because at worst case,
I won't blame the coaches for actually trying to pass once or twice in the second half. The first half is when they got all their rushing yards. In the second half, if you look at it statistically, they were incapable. And they needed to hold the ball there. Passing was not a terrible idea. They weren't averaging 4 yards a carry in the second half. They were averaging 1 yard, 2 yards a carry the whole second half.
I mean, based on they were doing a hell of a lot worse than not throwing the ball.
And well, if they only completed one pass out of 4, it's probably not untrue.
Yeah, 4 passes.
Besides that, you want the Broncos to use their timeouts. They had way too much time in all 3 timeouts. It's not just about, make them use the timeouts too. It's not just about trying to pick up the yards and control the ball.
Yeah, it really is so much about just the situational football. Like you said, Scotty, a lot of those teams were trying to play from behind against the Broncos. We were playing with a 13-zip lead. And against a team like the Bears, it probably is a wrong idea to go into a complete shell. But against the Broncos, where, I mean, you've got Von Miller and Ware coming at you every play and risk of a strip sack, I'm okay with the conservative game plan against those guys.
And look at the drive chart. I mean, just like
even.
I did.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm trying to pull up the. So, do you have the second half rushing numbers? Because on their first drive of the second half, they
gained 29 yards.
Yeah, they gained 7 yards. Murray 4 yards. Henry 5 yards. Murray 7 yards. Murray 4 yards.
And then they punted. And then their drives after that were 8 yards, -3 yards, and 1 yard. So you're going to have to cut your average quite a bit with those 3 drives after that.
I think the difference in the first half, they converted like 60% of their third downs. And in the second half, Mariota was really off on a couple of those passes on third down, probably 2 or 3 where they could have converted and kept drives alive.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Even on that next drive, though, Jamal, they had a 3-yard gain, Murray, 5-yard gain, Murray. That was when they had the 3rd and 2.
It was the third down. It was the third down passing in the second half that really faltered, not the running.
You're saying the second drive of the second half?
I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, I was. I don't know if you're talking to me or Scotty.
I'm just talking about in general in the second half, the third down passing, Mariota. I mean, I can think of at least 3 times that they passed on third down and didn't convert. They didn't convert a third down in the second half at all.
Oh, yeah, they didn't, did they?
They converted the long pass to Matthews, but that was on first or second down.
Yeah, so it was definitely a tale of 2 halves, no doubt. And the first, when the game first started, after we had that first drive, I was thinking, oh my gosh, are we about to just dominate them all game? And unfortunately, we didn't dominate them all game. But I mean, I can't say enough how exciting it is to get this win. I mean, 7-6 against a team like this. Delaney Walker, I thought, had an uncharacteristic bad game. I mean, that's a good one thing we haven't touched on yet is I thought in terms of Mariota's day, I thought there were at least 2 badly missed defensive pass interference calls that one of them would have been in the end zone. And they probably missed one when Mariota went out as a receiver as well. I mean, they were all over the guy.
That one was even worse. I mean, that was blatantly interference. Whether it's a quarterback or not, you still can't do that to the receiver.
Yeah. And then back to what I was saying about Walker, I mean, he cost them with 2 pick plays that I think you said on Titans Report, Scotty, really wasn't even a pick play. It was he just kind of tackled, straight up blocked the guy.
Yeah, he was blocking.
And one of them was it cost him a touchdown. Or, I mean, you could say maybe it opened up the touchdown, but it did occur on a play when they got in the end zone to Matthews. And he only had 2 catches for 30 yards, but he dropped that one right at the beginning of the game, too. It was just a weird day for Delaney, I thought. But it's hard to get, too upset with the guy, given that he's been our number 1 option all year long.
I think you just have to throw out all these stats because against this defense, you just got to try to find a way to win.
Yeah, I think that's what's getting lost in it is you know, I said one of the things after the game is, the hype for Mariota is going to take a pause after this, or people objected to that, but it's like, well, statistically, it was a terrible game, and he was finally getting national media attention. It's going to take a break now. But that doesn't mean that you aren't happy with the game itself, because way to win, and they found a way to win. And it wasn't that he had a bad game, like you guys were saying earlier. It wasn't like he had a bad game, but they were planning on relying on him extensively. Like they were very clearly coming in and running the ball this game.
Right. Malarkey said in the post game, the Broncos, I think, had won 29 straight games where they had not committed a turnover. So, and their quarterback play even last year was pretty horrid. That shows you how powerful not turning the ball over is. If you can just not turn the ball over, you're going to usually win. And that was their game plan today, not make a mistake. You said this was like the Vikings game. In the Vikings game, they turned the ball over, and that's why they lost.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you have – if you can pair not turning the ball over with a good defense, that's going to get you over a ton of humps.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could even have Peyton Manning out there throwing ducks.
Win the Super Bowl in the process.
Win a Super Bowl. Or Brock Osweiler, who's apparently the worst quarterback in the history of the game.
I saw another article talking about Denver's defense, and it had a sample size of 6 or 8 games, and it didn't tell you who these players were, but it was like, guess which one of these 3 are who. One of them was Brady twice last year. All these elite quarterbacks. The other 2 was Ryan Leaf and Jamarcus Russell. The stat lines were all 3 almost the same. So they turned the other team's quarterback into a scrub,
That'd be nice.
Have a defense that good
by other teams' scrubs into elite quarterbacks this year half the time.
I really think this is one of the best pass defenses like ever that Denver has.
They've pretty amazing.
Really good cornerbacks plus the pass rush.
They have 2 edge rushers that will probably be in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. Good linebackers as well. Well, the other 2 linebackers are good as well.
And one of the best defensive coordinators of all time.
All right, let's get to some questions here, unless you guys have anything else. Oh, one more thing I will say, and we'll talk more about Kendall Wright here in a second, but how about Trey McBride downing that punt?
Oh, that was awesome.
That was big time. And if Wright isn't held out of this game, he might not even be active and might not even made that play. So got to give props to that guy for making a play to pin the Broncos before they attempted that last drive. And, hey, it made them have to go a little bit farther and use those timeouts. And they were taking a lot of time. They were just kind of around midfield, and it was already under a minute, I think, right around the time we got the fumble. But yeah, so props to him for that. That was kind of the special teams play that I guess you could say didn't really negate the fake punt, but at least helped somewhat. And as much as we've talked bad about special teams this year, Ryan Suckup has been really, really fantastic. he had a long one today and turned out to be the difference, 3-point game.
How about when Sanders got the penalty on the kickoff and they still got Mariana, like on the 17-yard line or whatever. He still didn't even get it past the 25.
He might have been better when he broke his leg. He's been. The thing is,
man,
you talk about no turnovers with the quarterback. In some ways, special teams, you want to just have no big bad plays, and that's what he provides. He doesn't provide any upside really at this point in his career, but stable and trustworthy is what he is.
Yeah, going into this game, I checked in on some Broncos message boards, and they talked about their special teams the way we talk about ours. So I don't think they were expecting much from them, but they did get the fake punt. All right, so questions from the readers over at TitansReport.com. The first one is from our buddy Tex in a Can. He says, Broncos defensive adjustments at halftime and our inability to adapt. That's his topic. Did we not have a plan? for if the Broncos stacked the box and dared us to pass. Jamal, you want to take that one? I think we kind of already talked about it. It was just mostly bad quarterback play and no separation from receivers.
Yeah, I mean, I think our plan was to make them stack the box. We just didn't capitalize on it this time, and
I'm pretty sure the box was
generally care.
Stacked from the beginning.
Yeah, it was stacked from the beginning.
Yeah,
and like you read the play-by-play, they were still running the ball in the second half. It's just a few third down conversions they didn't convert.
All right.
Yeah. By the way, they had just under 3.5 yards per carry in the second half.
You think that
5
counts
carries
sacks
were the bad
too?
ones?
No,
that was me just going through the play-by-play.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
The biggest problem is they ended 1-1-1-5-0, and so that killed their last couple of drives. But before that, they were getting tons of yards early in the second half.
Yeah,
as you
the
pointed
fourth
out.
quarter, it really went downhill.
The kneel downs count as rushes when they take a knee at the end.
I don't think Jamal counted those though.
No, I didn't.
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he just.
That was just Murray and Henry too. So I don't remember if Marcus had any rushes, but I was just going with Murray and Henry. It was really the fourth quarter that.
And side note here, I was telling Scotty before we recorded, some of you, if you check the Titans Report fantasy section, I was asking people if I should play Carr or Mariota this week, and they both ended up having bad games. But surprisingly, Mariota actually outscored Carr because of the rushing numbers. Yeah,
rushing is.
I know. Rushing. I was shocked at that too when he told me that.
Mariota had 6 points for me. Carr would have only gotten 4. Pretty brutal.
I had a must-win fantasy game this week, and I started a bunch of Seattle players, so that didn't go well.
Oh yeah, I'm getting destroyed week 1 of the playoffs in one of my leagues, and by far my lowest point total of the season. But hey, that's how it goes. All right, so Vintage Robots wants us to talk about special teams. We kind of talked about that a little bit already. I think we'd have easily been in a couple games ahead of the Texans if not for some really terrible mistakes on special teams. We probably already hit that one enough. I like this one, Aussie Titans fan. McCourty's future this year and beyond. So this year, I think he's going to be on the team this year. They can't really afford to get rid of him after getting rid of Cox. But there were a few plays in this game where he was not on the field.
Was he on the field the first defensive play? I almost want to say when I heard the lineups announced for our first defensive play, he was not one of the first 2 corners. That it was Blake and what the other guy's name? McCain?
Sims or McCain?
Yeah, I think it was McCain and Blake were the first 2. I never went back and looked, but
there were definitely a couple of plays where they said both man, I get their names all mixed up. McCain and Blake and maybe Sims were all in and McCourty was out, and Kaharski was saying something about you should have your best cornerback on the field, but I don't think he was our best cornerback in this game.
I was like, maybe they did.
Yeah. So for the future,
had a rough day tweeting.
Yeah, that mistake about the Texans game and stuff.
About the playoffs, yeah.
Mm-hmm. For beyond, though, I think that's a really good question that even before McCourty started playing, I mean, he was always at his best. I think McCourty was an above-average cornerback. And
consistent
this year, he was consistent. Yeah. And this year, he just seems to have, taken a bad turn. As you said, Scotty, he was every bit as bad as Cox in the Bears game. But looking ahead to next year, they saved $7 million by cutting him.
He has no bonus. He has no bonus left next year.
Yep, no bonuses.
I would have said he would stay because they just need so many cornerbacks added, and you want to at least try to keep him. But he's been so bad. But I will defend him a little bit. Back when he got signed to the big deal, which I didn't think they should have done at the time, by the way, they played a lot of zone and had a much better pass rush. And he's never made plays and picked off passes and stuff. He's just been a good tackling zone cornerback. And this year they're having to blitz constantly and play man-to-man. And he's terrible at it. He just can't do it.
He's the highest paid player on the team.
If they go back,
yeah.
yes, if they go back to playing more zone, which I think Dick LeBeau would like to do if they can improve their front seven, he might be a lot better next year if they did that. He's getting old.
What do you guys think?
Getting old anyway, though. He's getting old.
Right. Yeah. If you had to make a call right now, is he on the team next year?
I'd say yes. That doesn't mean that he's going to be the guy you think of with McCourty, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the roster next year. I just don't think he's going to return to form.
It's tough. I don't know. It's tough. If they didn't need so many secondary players or back seven players, he'd be a lot safer. But he's played so bad. I mean, you don't lose anything.
They've kind of toyed. They've never actually done it, but they've toyed with moving him to safety. At least they've talked about it, and that's never came about. So I don't know. I mean, maybe they ask him to take a pay cut, and he's been in Tennessee his whole career. Maybe he would do it. I doubt it, but you never know. It'll be interesting to see. If I had to say right now, I don't think he's on the team next year.
I think his reputation is way better than his actual play. I see him get hyped up a lot around the league. I don't think most people know how bad he really is.
He gets hyped up because his brothers.
Yeah, and he got the big contract and stuff, and he's really had one good season since he's been a Titan. He's had a lot of bad years.
All right, let me see here if we have any other questions.
I think Tex wanted to know what's our theory on the voicemail box, and the answer is forget about it until too late most of the time.
Well, it's not even that I forget.
He has like multiple voicemails sitting out there waiting for us.
No, I did check it after he posted that. But it's such a complicated. We haven't figured out a really good way to be able to do it live. I would have to like play it on my phone or something and just hold it up to the mic. And I know we tried to figure out some way to play it through the actual computer audio so it would sound better for you guys on your all's end, but we never could quite get that nailed down. So I mean, our policy is it's kind of always been, feel free to send one in, and we did a couple times. We've had just kind of dedicated voicemail shows, and I think if we got a handful, if we got 4 or 5 of them, we could do another show out of voicemails. But we haven't gotten a significant number in a while. But yeah, when they kind of trickle in here and there, it's just a little bit harder to really fit them into the show. But if you guys really want to see them, I mean, I would just say post in the thread, hit us up on Twitter, and the main thing though is just send more of them in. Just send more of them in. Chester Copperpot just got a late question in about Lawan running 30 yards away. I think we touched on that one a little bit. Yeah. I mean, it's funny, but it's smart really, because they're going to be looking for him. If when those scuffles erupt, they always kind of have their eye on Lawan. All right, so let's shift gears a little bit. And man, I mean, it's amazing. We've got 3 games to go, and it's totally legitimate to have a playoff discussion here, guys. We are tied for the division lead in terms of wins and losses. Now we know all about the tiebreakers. I think most people know that Titans lose pretty much any tiebreaker with the Colts or Texans in the division. So can't really end up in a tie with either one of those guys. I think it was McCormick or somebody on Twitter did point out that in terms of the wild card, Titans do have head-to-head wins over Denver, and they have a head-to-head win over Miami now. So that's something to keep an eye on. I don't know that those teams are going to be in contention because, I mean, the wild card's just crazy right now. You got the Ravens and Steelers.
It's wild.
Battling, yeah. You got the Ravens and Steelers battling it out, and you've got the Dolphins who are right there. Bills have kind of fallen off. I know they were close for a while. And then you've got the Colts and Titans and Texans. So one of them is going to win the division. The other one's going to be right there in that discussion. But obviously our best and most clear path is to the winning the division. And I posted a thread today. I mean, with everything that happened, the Titans now control their own destiny, which at the beginning of the year, if you'd said to me, hey, you're going to come to the final 3 games of the year, the Titans win, they're in, I would have said, I'll take that. I mean, given where we've been, I can't remember who it was over on Titans Report, but they said, think about this, guys. This time last year, we were sitting here debating who are we going to take with the number 1 pick, Tunsil or what's his name, Ramsey. That was the discussion. Yeah, Bosa was in the conversation. That was what we were talking about. And here now we are able to talk about a top 5 pick thanks to the Rams, and also maybe playoffs. So let's focus on the Chiefs first, because if we win all 3, we're in. I mean, that's the easy path. But I think most people, when they did their little predictions for these Final 4 games, have always kind of written in Kansas City as a loss. And even now, even after today, I think we're all most likely going to pick the Titans to lose this game, because Kansas City might be the most complete team in the NFL right now, just the way they're playing. I've seen some tweets that were saying that it's not New England isn't the team to beat, it's Kansas City, because they just beat you in so many different ways. I don't know if you guys have watched them lately, but I think everybody knows the type of player Alex Smith is. They have a great tight end in Kelsey, which is really bad news for us. They've got great special teams, and they have a defense that makes a lot of big plays. They're not quite like the Broncos. I mean, they do have a really good pass rush. They've got Eric Berry in the secondary, and they make a lot of big plays, but they also give up a lot of yards. I don't think they give up nearly as like the Broncos don't give up many yards at all. They are number 1 in the league pass defense. So it's going to be an interesting game. It's at Kansas City. I'm sure they're going to be favored, but in terms of game plan, what do you guys think? I kind of expect what we saw this week. I think we're going to try and run the ball, especially the fact that Derek Johnson is out for them. He's basically the quarterback of their defense. And in that game last week, it was a Thursday night game. They played the Raiders, and that's when the Raiders started having success. They were running with Latavius Murray after he went out and had a lot of success. I think that's got to be the blueprint again if we want to compete here.
That was my favorite part of the bye week, was the thread that went up that said, who's getting injured? And then lo and behold, somebody actually did. Because we always played against – it's been happening all year. It's great. I would say if you're telling me we can play against teams with injuries or without, I'm going to say –
I knew what you meant. I'm just
get me with. I don't care. And I don't know any of these people personally, so I have feel no shame in saying I hope all of them get injured. Why? They get paid enough money. I don't care. But I would say, yeah, we're going to come out and lean on the run game. I would expect a bit more balance than we saw. But I thought Murray looked much more like his old self than he had shortly before the bye. And it seems to me that it continues to be our strength and our mentality of imposing our will. And that's just how we're going to go out. And I mean, controlling the game, giving the defense time off the field. That's our MO.
I said a couple weeks ago, I thought the Chiefs would probably be the AFC team to beat as far as going to the Super Bowl. I mean, so I definitely think the Titans are going to be underdogs, but I expect them to be way more balanced. They can't be this conservative against the Chiefs. The Broncos offense is a lot worse than the Chiefs. The Chiefs offense is actually starting to come alive. They got that guy, I think his name's Hill, that's the deep threat now.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And Kelsey, as far as I'm concerned, Kelsey's up there with Gronkowski as far as the best tight end. That guy's catching deep passes.
I'm sorry, but if we punt at all to Hill, somebody should be fired on the spot. Seriously.
You know, and I will say one thing about our punts is that every once in a while it seems like our punts go the exact, it's either way too short or the wrong way, or, we have got a leg. And I mean, even today, didn't he have that huge punt from the end zone?
Yes.
Distance wise. But at times it's the coordination, it seems like within the game, the play, that it just seems like they're talking about afterwards where he's saying, I kicked it the wrong way or it came off my foot wrong or something. That scares me a little bit.
I'm not exaggerating when I say every time they punt, it should be out of bounds. That guy is dangerous, man. He is so fast.
Yeah, he's good on offense too. He's not just a special teams player.
It's scary to hear about.
I was trying to find his stats here real quick on returning here.
His return this last week, I was watching that game. That was a return. the type of which you haven't seen in Tennessee for a while. I mean,
that's actually
we've had.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No.
I was going to say that's actually the only punt return for a touchdown he's had all year.
Oh,
ESPN doesn't give you the averages, but unfortunately, 473 punt return yards on 31 attempts. Let's see here. A little math here on the two-tone crew. 473
14, something like that.
15.25 per punt, and then he has had a kickoff return as well. So for a touchdown, he's a rookie from West Alabama.
According to Football Outsiders, Casey has the fourth best special teams overall, and they average 9 point.
Oh, Casey! I thought you said Casey. I'm like, what?
No, yeah,
Casey,
Kansas City, and they average 9.9 yards per punt return, I guess. Which
Dave Tube, man,
which leads the league, by the way.
Coach.
It leads the NFL. They lead the league in punt return average.
Where do they rank our special teams, out of curiosity?
Oh, well, 24th, but that's actually up. They've actually been going up. You know, because the first 4 to 6 weeks they were the worst. They were terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you said 24th, but, and I was thinking, but is probably the way I would describe it.
But it was 32nd.
You guys remember that name, Dave Tube?
Yeah, I saw him on the. They talked about him on the Thursday night game a lot, didn't they?
He was the guy that, he was the guy that some of us wanted the Titans to actually take a look at as kind of a sleeper candidate for the head coaching job.
Yep.
But yeah, his special teams units have been top notch. That honestly, the special teams and Kelsey really worry me in this game. If you're looking for the bright side, though, I will say this. Let me go back here because I was looking at the Chiefs' schedule because all everybody talks about is, man, they've won three in a row. They're the best team in the league right now. Listen to this. Week 9, they beat the Jags 19-14. Not dominant. They beat the Panthers 20-17, so 3-point win against the Panthers. They've been pretty bad this year. They lose to the Buccaneers by 2. Now, the Bucs have really turned it on, but they lose there by 2. Then they beat the Broncos. I don't know if you all watched that game. Denver had that game won. All they had to do was go down at the 1-yard line, but instead the guy scores a touchdown, blah, blah, blah. It goes to overtime. So then they beat the Falcons by 1. Really good team. Then they beat the Raiders, and Thursday night, 21-13. And I don't care what anybody says. Derek Carr, man, was not himself. His pinky was clearly affecting him on many of his throws. But yes, I mean, they've been finding ways to win games, but they've not been this completely just outright dominant team. They've gotten a special team score here. They've gotten an Eric Berry returns a 2-point conversion for 2 the other way. That's how they beat the Falcons. So they're kind of just getting by. But hey, I mean, Titans just got by today. A win is really all that matters in the NFL. So if you're looking for kind of a silver lining, that's really what I would say. And the fact that Johnson's going to be out, I do think we can run on them a bit.
I think the last 2 years, going back to last year, in their last 26 games, they're like 23-3 though. So they just win a lot. They were also down 20 to nothing against the Panthers earlier this year. You didn't name that one, but they had a miracle comeback in that game.
Oh yeah, I mentioned that one. I didn't realize it was a comeback. Yeah, they won 20-17 was the final.
Oh, it was 17 to nothing or something like that late in the fourth quarter. It was pretty amazing. Pretty amazing they won.
It'd be interesting to see, just because you mentioned Carolina. I wonder if we're going to lose. If we're going to have playoffs without the winner and runner-up from last year, because I think Carolina's got to be getting close to having a very small chance to get in.
Oh yeah,
right now Denver's a wild card still. I was kind of surprised about that.
Oh, so their division still has the 2 wild cards.
Yeah. I think the reason people are counting them out though is because their schedule gets really brutal from here.
This was their easy one today, and they were they were underdogs. I mean, they were underdogs in this game.
All right, so we haven't checked in on the Texans' schedule yet. I think we've talked about it all year long, but we know they've got the Jags next week, which most people are expecting them to win that one. Then they've got the Bengals, and then, of course, we all know to close out the season, they are at the Titans. So the 2 games they have, unfortunately, they are both at home. Jags and Bengals are at home. And if you're not keeping up with everybody with all the math of how this is going to shake out, like I was saying, we cannot finish with a tie with the Texans or the Colts. We would lose a tie. Right now, the Colts are not even in consideration. But if the Titans or Texans lose, then suddenly you've got to worry about the Colts again, because we lose tiebreakers there. Colts have the Vikings and the Raiders on the road, so you hope they'll drop at least one of those, and then I think they close out the year against the Jags. So you definitely want to root for the Colts to lose another one, just so we can go ahead and officially eliminate them. And then you probably want to see the Texans lose one of these next two as well, just to give the Titans that little bit of a buffer if they do in fact lose to the Chiefs, because then it beat the Jags, and you're likely going to have set up still for the division in week 17. So
the Texans only beat the Jags 24-21 in their first meeting. And the Jags have actually, I mean, they're losing consistently, but they've been losing closer games, like within a touchdown almost every game. They lost by 5 to the Chiefs, 3 to the Texans. It looks like 7 to Detroit, 7 to Buffalo, 10 to the Broncos. And then today they ended up losing by 9, but that game was in contention for a long time. Yeah. So, I mean, the Jags, they're losing every game, but they're in a lot of these, which is kind of surprising. It's the first time I've looked at their schedule in a while.
Close games, but they find a way to win. Yeah.
It's the opposite, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Texans don't lose one of the 2 games before the Titan game. I expect them to lose. I expect them to lose at least one of them.
I wouldn't be shocked either. The Bengals are almost eliminated, but they're still playing hard. I mean, they had a solid game last week, and then this week they were playing the Browns, but they haven't quit. If you are looking for something, they definitely haven't quit, and they're a team that can beat the Texans easily. I mean, with Osweiler, Texans could lose just about any game. So, yeah, so that's what to look for here in the final 3 weeks of the season. What were you going to say, Scotty?
I was just going to say that I think that if the Titans finish 9-7, I think they'll win the division
with a win over Houston. Obviously, yeah.
Close
it out. All right. Well, how about this Chiefs game? You guys, you think it's close? Do you think the Chiefs run away with it? How do you see it going down?
I've got to pick the Chiefs. Arrowhead. The Chiefs are a really good team. They don't make mistakes. I'm still not completely sold on the Titans defense being able to stop the Chiefs. So, but I think the Chiefs are the kind of team where this could be a close game at the end, and Mariota could certainly win it at the end, or they could kick a field goal and win. But I'd have to pick the Chiefs to win.
I mean, if you're looking for a trap game, this is it. They're coming off the Raiders. Then up next, they've got the Broncos again. So that's, sandwiched right in between 2 big division games. Raiders, Broncos, and Chiefs are all in contention for both the division and the wild card. It's similar to the AFC South, except they've got much better records than the AFC South. So it's sandwiched right between those 2 games if you're looking for another glimmer of hope. How about you, Jamal?
No, I'd have to pick Kansas City at this point. But, you've talked about how Kansas City plays a lot of close games. We play a lot of close games, so I wouldn't expect it to be a blowout. And like Scotty said, you get a little bit of fortune in a close game, it turns the game around. You get a little bit of individual brilliance, it turns the game around. So, I posted earlier today, none of these 4 games are we guaranteed to lose. They're all games that are within our reach. It's just whether or not we can play consistently enough to get a good streak going in this last series of 4 games. So I'd pick Kansas City, but us winning wouldn't be a shock to, I think, basically anyone at this point. Myself included.
I would have to pick Kansas City too, but I echo what both of you have said there. Wouldn't shock me at all. If we were it's huge. If we pull out a win here, it's the excitement's just going to be through the roof at that point, because at that point, you say you beat the Broncos, you beat the Chiefs, then you can seriously contend in the playoffs. Forget just getting there. You can beat teams in the playoffs at that point.
If they win next week, they're definitely the favorite to win the division.
Oh, yeah. And not only that, You're talking about we have a chance to win in the playoffs. If we we already beat Denver. If we beat Kansas City, those are two teams that we might face in the playoffs, So, of course, we have a chance to beat them in the playoffs. I mean,
the Raiders, another team that we played very close.
We're at a point now where if we get in, it's because we're hot and playing well and not against a cakewalk schedule. And so it has to give you hope. It's a pretty interesting period to be a Titans fan, to be honest.
It really is. It's exciting, man. No doubt.
I meant to bring this up earlier, but I didn't consider this early in the season. But the Titans' bye week was so late. I really think it affected them the last couple of weeks. They looked just something about them looked a lot fresher. Murray, the defense.
Yep.
I think it hurt them the last couple of weeks that they played so many games in a row without a break. It's rare to have a bye this late.
I think it's ridiculous to have a bye this late. But I will say that the bye might have been the reason we won today. So it might be okay that we looked bad for a couple of games because it gave us the edge today.
I think they put the Browns and Titans like this because they thought it would not affect a team that's trying to get in the playoffs. Yeah, I really think that's why they did
it. People today when I was talking about Mariota on Twitter and people were saying, why do you care what national media thinks? Because that drives whether or not they get the primetime games, that drives how much influence they're going to have over schedules. I mean, we've had some weird scheduling things the last couple of years. I can't remember what the other ones are. But this year, that's one of them. This year, 3 of our preseason opponents we played in the regular season. That's preposterous. Yeah,
that's one. Yeah.
That's preposterous. The fact that if we become a marquee team with marquee players, you start getting those extra edges. And I think those things matter. So, I mean, I don't care what Peter King's opinion is. I care about the effect of, Peter King and a million other people of the Titans.
Indeed. Definitely an exciting time to be a fan, no doubt.
Is somebody in a room with clowns? What was that sound?
My wife just loves the clown text message noise. Okay. So she just walked in.
So I could give him a hard time, but I'll let you get away with it.
I just thought when Jamal was talking, someone was making a clown noise.
Bite me.
Dang, that was good. That was great timing there. Oh man! All right, guys, another fun podcast, no doubt. Man, this one's one of those that if it went the other way there at the end, it's so hard to come on and do a podcast.
Oh yeah,
after that. But it turned out in our favor. Biggest win in years, and here we are talking playoffs.
And it's real at this point. We've been mentioning playoffs, but now it's real.
Exactly.
We're above 500 for the first time since week 1 of last year. It's been a while.
And I was thinking, I saw when you posted that, I was thinking, when is the last time we've been above 500 this late in the year?
2011, probably.
Because it was the Munchak. I know we talked a little bit about the Munchak that first year.
Yeah.
They started off so hot, and then everything went downhill.
That team was falling apart, though. This is different.
Complete opposite.
They had just lost to the winless Colts, and they could, their offense was just falling apart, and even if they would have squeaked in, they had no hope. This is a lot different, a lot more promising.
Man.
And we're healthy. I mean, generally, we are a healthy team.
Yeah, if they get Casey back too, I mean.
Knock on wood.
And hey, if Sims can keep it up and Blake can keep it up, it was far better than what we saw from Cox and even Sims. I mean, Sims was really bad in the Bears game, and he
turned around and located the ball a couple times this game, which was one of his problems last game. So
man, look at that. That's how a quarterback's supposed to play. You turn around, you find the ball.
Last week, the Bears were dropping wide open passes. Today, a lot of defensive backs broke up some passes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Definitely. All right, guys. Let us know your thoughts and feedback. You can find us in a number of different places online. The main website is titansreport.com. You can tweet to us at Titans Report. We have a Facebook group, facebook.com/Titans Report. You can leave us a voicemail. We talked a little bit about that earlier. If we get a couple, then it's much easier if we get 3 or 4 for us to say, okay, we should really do a show centered around this. So if you want to do that, leave a voicemail at 615-900-0282. Once again, that number is 615-900-0282. And let's see, what else? iTunes, rate and review us there. We are posting all these on YouTube now. So if you're still listening to the traditional podcast, totally fine. But we have made a habit the past couple of weeks of recording this live on Sunday evenings after the game. So if you want to listen to us live, check Titans Report on Sunday evening around 8:30 Central, and it'll be probably one of the top threads there. And you can just click the link and listen to us live if you want. So, guys, Jamal, Scotty, thanks so much for joining us once again. And I think that's it. Did I forget anything?
No.
Forgot to go Titans, right?
Go Titans. Are you guys, Scott, are you considering going to playoffs if we make? Are you going to go to the game?
I mean, it's unlikely that I can make plans that
quick.
Yeah, that quick.
Seriously, consider it. I'm kind of thinking about going to week 17 if it's for the division.
That's true. I had a conversation with my ticket sponsor, and he made me promise. He said, "Okay, I can get you some. We can arrange tickets for you to buy, but you're gonna have to wear a hat that says Malarkey for president the whole time."
Oh, nice.
And I agreed to it. If they
nice.
can get on a streak, I'll wear that hat. As long as my boss wife tells me yes.
All I know is if they get 10 wins, we're just going to have a whole episode of Scotty. We won't even join. We'll just let you go on for an hour.
I don't even want to say anything. I'm just waiting.
Oh, I hope it happens so bad. Not for you, but for everyone.
I've got a hit list ready.
Well, I predicted 7 wins, so they've hit my prediction already. So anything from here is an improvement over what I was expecting.
I really think they'll probably go 9-7. Oh yeah, by the way, today was one of the games Jamal said that they just couldn't win. I meant to point that out earlier. That Broncos.
And with that, we are done. Thank you guys so much for listening. Have a great week.